He was 4 years old. He had just learned how to tie his shoes. He called his mum Superhero Mommy. And in a quiet neighborhood, on an ordinary afternoon, he was shot. Not because he broke into a home, not because he posed a threat, but because someone looked at his skin and saw something to fear. His name was Elijah. He never made it to kindergarten, and the person who took his life lived just 3 doors down. This story isn't about a gang. It's not about a robbery. It's not even about a mistake. It's about what happens when hate wears normal clothes, waves politely, and still pulls the trigger. This story will break you. By the end of this video, you'll know how hate can live next door and why justice didn't come fast enough. You're watching Truth Behind Bars, where the darkest stories hide in plain sight. If you're new here, subscribe and comment below because this one demands to be heard. Elijah Brooks was 4 years old. He loved cartoons about space. His favorite snack was apples and peanut butter, and wherever he went, he carried a tiny blue toy truck in one hand and his mother's hand in the other. He didn't know what racism was. He couldn't spell the word. He couldn't recognize it. But on June 3, 2023, it recognized him. His mother, Amara Brooks, was 27, a licensed nurse. She worked night shifts so she could walk Elijah to preschool every morning. They had just moved into a quiet suburban street, one of those neighborhoods with mailboxes shaped like ducks and trimmed hedges. Amara believed she was giving Elijah a better life, a safer life, away from the chaos of the city. The neighborhood was clean. The lawns were perfect. The people, well, they were polite and distant. At first, Amara chalked it up to small-town culture, the way smiles never quite reached their eyes, the way conversations died when she walked past. But then came the complaints. The HOA notes, the woman who clutched her purse tighter when Elijah waved from the driveway. June 3rd was a Saturday, a warm, sunny afternoon. Elijah was in the front yard, playing inside the fenced area, wearing his red sneakers, singing to himself. And then someone yelled. Just one word, a name, maybe a warning. Then a sound no child should ever be associated with. The 911 call came in at 4:27 p.m. Please, my son's been shot. He's just a baby, please. Emergency responders arrived in under 6 minutes, but the damage was already done. The bullet struck Elijah in the chest. He was pronounced dead on arrival. Amara never let go of his hand, not even when they wheeled him away. The shooter was identified almost immediately. David Mallory, 62 years old, retired contractor, Army veteran, longtime resident of the neighborhood. He ran the so-called neighborhood watch, but he didn't report suspicious packages. He reported black neighbors. In the year before Elijah's death, he had called the police 6 times. Every call involved people of color. One report was about a black teen delivering DoorDash. He claimed he fired in self-defense, that he saw a figure near his property, that he felt threatened. But the fence was locked, and Elijah was 4. The official report came in hours after Elijah's death. The words were chilling in their simplicity. Accidental discharge. David Mallory claimed he saw someone near his gate, claimed he thought his home was being broken into, claimed he didn't know it was a child. He said it was instinct, fear, a tragic mistake. But less than 24 hours later, that narrative began to crumble. A neighbor's doorbell camera ring footage was recovered by investigators. The clip was short, just 17 seconds, but what it showed made everything clear. Elijah was inside the fence, still, quiet, holding his toy truck. No one else was around. There was no shouting, no chaos, no threat. And then, in the frame's top corner, a flash, a sound. And Elijah dropped. There was no mistake. Just a moment where hatred pulled the trigger. In the days that followed, more came to light. Amara had filed 2 formal complaints against David Mallory. The first was after he left a note on her windshield accusing her of parking too close to his line. The second came after he banged on her door at midnight to complain that Elijah was too loud while playing with chalk. Each time, police said there was no cause for legal action. But now, a child was dead. As news spread, the town split down the middle. Some said David was a good man, a veteran, a protector, that he suffered from PTSD, that he made a mistake. Others demanded justice. Vigils formed, protest signs appeared on lawns and storefronts. His skin wasn't a threat. Justice for Elijah. Don't tell us it was a mistake. And then came the moment that shattered the final defense. Investigators secured a warrant for David Mallory's phone. Inside, they found dozens of text messages. One stood out. "I'm sick of that woman and her jungle baby." He sent it 1 week before the shooting. This wasn't fear. This wasn't PTSD. This was premeditated bias. A slow, boiling hatred disguised as concern, disguised as patriotism, disguised as a neighbor. The trial of David Mallory began 3 months after Elijah's death. He entered the courtroom with his lawyer at his side, and no expression on his face. He was charged with second-degree murder. The prosecution argued motive, bias, pattern. The defense painted a different picture of a man overwhelmed, mentally unstable, a veteran who acted on impulse, not hatred. The jury listened to every word. They saw the footage, heard the 911 call, read the text messages. And then they deliberated. 9 hours later, the verdict came. Guilty of manslaughter, not murder. The courtroom gasped. Amara collapsed. Her sobs echoed across the floor like the first gunshot all over again. News spread quickly. The verdict became a headline, then a debate, then a protest. Hashtags flooded social media. Hashtag Elijah Brooks. Hashtag say his name. Hashtag this wasn't justice. Candlelight vigils turned into marches, city blocks filled with faces holding signs, chanting his name. They didn't just steal her son, they stole justice too. He wasn't a symbol, he wasn't a case, he was mine, and he should be here. Her words didn't trend. They didn't make front-page news, but to those who heard them, they stuck. A mother without her child, a child without a future, a town without answers. Elijah Brooks never made it to his 5th birthday. There was no kindergarten graduation, no first bike, no awkward school photos taped to the fridge. But his name lives on, in protests, in stories, in the hearts of strangers who never got to meet him and never stopped saying his name. In the aftermath of the trial, Amara Brooks did not disappear. She refused to. With help from friends, community leaders, and civil rights attorneys, she founded the Elijah Brooks Foundation. Its mission is simple: to fight racial bias in education, housing, and neighborhood policing. To make sure no other parent has to stand where she stood. Every June 3rd, they hold a remembrance walk. They wear red shirts, the color of Elijah's sneakers. They carry toy trucks. They light candles. And they ask a single question: what does justice really look like? Is it a courtroom verdict? A prison sentence? A law rewritten? Or is it something harder, something quieter? Like a mother getting to walk her son to school without fear. Like a child being allowed to play in his own front yard without being seen as a threat. This story may be over, but the system it came from isn't. Because hate doesn't always wear a hood. Sometimes it wears a name tag, a wedding ring, a smile. Sometimes it lives 3 doors down. Elijah Brooks was 4 years old. He mattered. In memory of Elijah Brooks. Say his name. Say all their names. If this story moved you, share it. Speak it. Remember it. You're watching Truth Behind Bars, where the darkest stories hide in plain sight. Comment below. What does justice look like to you?